All right, you guys, I'll be right there. I'm just trying to grab the link of my YouTube channel, this live event to post on my Facebook page. So just bear with me. I've grabbed the link and now I'm just going to open the Facebook page and we'll be on our way. I hope everybody's doing great this evening. It's Friday once again. It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Alright, so I've got that going. Let's see. Let me post it. And there it's posting. Okay, so at least people have a link. They can grab it if they want to watch it on Facebook um, instead of YouTube. But are you guys able to see that very well? Is it too dark? Is it too bright on your side? Let me know. Happy Mother's Day. That's right. Sunday is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there that's a mom, and you don't really need to be a mom if, because I think we're all mothers in one way or another. So, is it just me or are all the demos crazy about this suite? Yeah, it's really pretty. I like the suite a lot. I actually just started playing with it yesterday. So I'm going to be using this paper for my May card club. So I'm super excited about that. I am a little bit behind in designing my club cards. So those people that are on here, a few of you that belong to my club, I'm gonna get there hopefully soon. I got so much going on. It's just so super hard, but to stay afloat. But anyway, it looks like I've got a few of you guys on here tonight. So as always, I will try to look at the camera or the comments, but generally speaking, I don't because I want to be able to pay attention to what I am working on. So, and not go off camera and not spill water and not like just mess up. So anyway, we're going to do some infomercials first. So if you're going to make the mystery card supply with me tonight, these are the, I don't know if you can see this. These are the measurements that I'm using tonight. So I'll go over them really quick. The colors I'm using are Mint Macaron, and it's a card base of 4 1/4 by 11. Don't score it, okay? Because we're going to score it in two locations. Mint Macaron panel, which is 3 by 4 1/2. Basic black, 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Basic white, 2 1/2 by 4. Hand pen designer series paper, 2 1/2 by 4. You will need 2 pieces of those, plus another piece cut 4 by 5 1/4. I'm using the double heart punch with the Mint Macaron scallop heart and the basic white cardstock regular edged heart. The gems, I don't even know how to pronounce this, but I'm going to give it a shot. Genial, I'm not sure. And a stamp set. I'm using hand-penned petals. And the inks I'm going to be using in my mystery card, various colors of inks. I've got green, blue, purple, and pink. So that's my mystery ink color. So that's your mystery card supplies. I got a card in the mail this week. So here's my card in the mail from my upline. I wasn't in the top 10 in sales. She has a really, really large team. However, I did break $1,000 in sales. So she sent me a nice little card. This uses a color and contours stamp set and dies, which I featured previously on a live. You can see how absolutely gorgeous these dies are, right? So she made this card and sent it to me in the mail with some jewels or gems or something like that, which I'll be using. Speaking of teams, so you guys all know well, maybe you don't know that Stampin' Up! Is offering a new incentive to join. And here is the information. So basically, during the month of May is this Join Plus. So for for $99 plus your sales tax if you have it in your area. Some people don't, like New Hampshire, which I live right next to, 20 minutes from. There's no sales tax there, so it'd be just strictly $99 to join Stampin' Up! And you receive $155 worth of products. So that is a super, super great deal. You will also receive free shipping on the entire shipment and a free past paper pumpkin kit. And you'll receive some free business supplies as well. And it's only available until May 31st. So if you have a wish list, if you have a list in general of paper products that you would like to purchase, and just say it's like $50, well, you should just join as a hobby stamper and see where it takes you. You don't have, there's no commitments. And $56 worth of products is huge, you guys. That's a couple of stamp sets, it's a bunch of paper. So really think about it. And you know, it's such a great deal. So that's it for my infomercial on Join Plus. Let me put that aside. I want to give a shout out to 3 of my team members. Here's their little card that they got when I welcomed them to the Inspired Daisies team. So I have, when they joined, I like to send them a little something. So I found these little daisies. I don't know if you can see them or not. They're little charms. Aren't they cute? But anyway, we're called the Inspired Daisies. So I sent them, and every time they earn some kind of like, I don't know, it's like a quick start in bronze, and I have one member on here tonight that will hopefully be promoting to silver. She's so close. I send them a little trinket there, and I totally forgot to send their quick start and their bronze elite daisies. So those are going in the mail really quick, hopefully by Monday. So I'm so super proud of my team. They are just keeping me on my toes, and I'm still learning as I go. I mean, I didn't have a really big team prior to January and celebration, so I'm super excited that I have 9 team members. So it's really been a lot of fun. So for my customers there that don't choose to join, you can still benefit still as a customer. I always have a monthly host code. So this month, in the month of May, I'm going to be giving away a package, and this is not full. This is what I had in my craft room. I didn't want to go with any embellishments that were new this year because I was or in the catalog, just because I was super nervous about inventory and back orders and COVID and how some of the inventory is just not coming in. So I went with something that's a staple in, everybody's craft room, rhinestones, and they've been in the catalog for a bit. So I went with those, and I knew they would be in stock when I placed the order at the end of May. So your host code is S as in Sam, R as in Robert, S as in Sam, P as in Peter, 9, E as in Edward, 9, J as in Jam. $30 or more in product, you receive the rhinestones plus a really cute card for me, of course. And anything, so use the host code when your order is $30 to $149.99. If it's over $150 or above, don't use the host code, because you'll still get the rhinestones and the really cute card for me as well. So you can place your order at inspiredbygraham.com, but if you're over in this range here, you should really purchase the starter kit, all right, for $99. Okay, so let's get started here. So these are the 3 cards I'm going to be making tonight. This one actually is heat embossed, and I'm going to use the mini cut and emboss machine. I'm going to try on camera. It's so small that I might have to take it off camera. And then on the inside here is stamped Anything is Possible with a nice little floral stamped image there. So that's card number 1. And I know some of you guys can't go all the way to the end of the live, so I'm going to put the mystery card in the middle. This is what mine turned out to be with a little heart there. We're going to make an easel card. And then the last card is my favorite here. It's got super duper layers here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers plus 6, 7. So 7 layers on this card. I know this is going to be one of my card club cards for May. So my card club participants, they don't necessarily need to use or have the stamp set, but it would be really fun if they did. So they can cut out the images that I am using. They could always use what they had in their craft room as well. They'd get a scrap of white there to do this image here, but it's really fun when you have the stamp set and the dies all together. So that's the inside of that one. All right, so let's talk about hand-penned petals and the dies and the paper. So here's the stamp set. It's a photopolymer stamp set. So it's, you know, those clear ones that you need to use a Stampin' piercing mat or something squishy. So I showed this last time where Stampin' Up! Has made those little inserts now. So they're printed on the back side. So you know exactly where your stamps go. You know if you're missing one, which is like super cool. And they got rid of, and they kept the flimsy thing, which I actually threw out. And I kept the nicer one here. So I just layer this right over here. And that works really nice. I really, really like that. The dies here. So these are the penned flowers. So to make it super easy for you guys to see this, I made this little chart here, and it's very helpful. I die cut everything with Blackberry Bliss, and I don't think you can see that, but that's the color I used. I put it in on some retired soft sea foam. No, not soft sea foam. Oh gosh, I can never remember this one. Anyway, it's the ink color that just left. You can, somebody will put it in the description somewhere. Okay, so, and then I heat embossed here so you can kind of see the detail in white powder here. So these are all the dies that you can create with the penned flower dies. Today I'm not going to be, I'm only going to be using one, which is the scalloped here. But I did kind of die cut one here. This one goes over top of this larger die here. So that's kind of what it looks like. And you could just put it down with some glue dots, but that's kind of what that is. You can always use it as an overlay as well. Maybe I'll try to put it on one of the cards tonight. And then the Designer Series paper, hand-penned DSP. This coordinates with a lot of different colors: Basic Black, Blushing Bride, Cinnamon Cider, Daffodil Delight, Garden Green, Highland Heather, Mint Macaron, Misty Moonlight, Pale Papaya, and Pool Party, plus your white. So really, really fun, kind of springy colors, lots of pastels. So that is the paper we're going to be using tonight. So let me just clear up my area here. And we're going to get started creating card number 1. So for card number 1, I need my Versamark ink. I have an embossing buddy. I've got my clear embossing powder. Here I go. I'm losing all the space on my desk. So let me just kind of get this in a little bit better order. You'll need your piercing mat, of course. And the other ink I chose was Pale Papaya. This is one of the new in colors. All right, so here is my card kit. And I've got all the pieces cut out with the exception of this image this image right here. So I think what I'll do is kind of do some of the stamping first. I'll probably do the heat embossing first and then go do everything else there. So I need, let's see, I'm going to put this in front of us. So I've got my piercing mat. I've got my scrap paper. It's just copy paper here to protect my piercing mat. And then I've got my white basic basic white. The stamp here is on one of those really big blocks, E, so it doesn't quite fit on a D block, so you're gonna have to bump it up to a E block. I like, when I heat emboss, I like to use the embossing buddy. I've had this forever. It's just kind of a cornstarch pouch. It removes static and fingerprints there. So, and I just keep mine in one of these little containers here because sometimes they do leak. I've had this one for like 9 years, so it still works really, really great. All right, so let me just see if you can see everything on the camera. So since I'm using a larger stamp here, I like to take the ink pad to the stamp, or the stamp, and I like to tap with Versamark ink. So Versamark ink is a clear, sticky ink, okay? Probably not going to be able to see it, and I like to do this plenty of times just because I don't want to miss any of the edges. And then I'm going to, let's see, so I've got that. Then I'm going to take the pale papaya and I'm going to tap this one on top. This is how I do it. People might do it differently, but this is how I do it. And then I'm going to just stamp this right down here. And I'm going to press pretty hard and give it a couple seconds for that sticky ink in the pale papaya to go onto the basic white. And then I'm just going to peel it off. So it kind of looks like this. It kind of looks like regular ink, but it's very sticky. So now we're going to take my clear embossing powder, and these I just keep in a nice little container here. It's kind of a super large container, but what I like about it is that it's big enough where I can just go like this. So I'm sprinkling on the clear embossing powder, making sure I get it all over the edges there especially. I'm going to tap it onto the container. Then I like to tap the spoon on the back side, and I just kind of give it a look over to see if there's any remnants. It's really hard to see if there's, oh, I may have missed here, but that's going to be okay. All right, so that is all set. Let me put the cover back on because I don't want it to accidentally spill it, or what would be really, really horrible would be to take my heat tool to it and it would make a hot mess there. So I'm also going to close up this ink pad too, just in case I have a huge accident. Let me grab my heat tool, which is way over on the other side. This paper is large enough. If it was smaller, I would use tweezers. But I'm going to turn my heat emboss tool on to number 2, which is full strength. And we're going to heat this up. And it's going to be noisy, but just bear with that tool. This was the first thing I learned in card making, was heat embossing, my very, very first class. And it totally drew me into creating cards. So right now, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but the powder's heating up and it's melting onto the cardstock. It gets a little bit brighter in color and it gets shiny. It takes a little bit, a little while for your heat tool to get to the right temperature, but once it gets to the right temperature, it goes pretty fast. I'm just going to turn that cardstock around, and I'm going over to this side now. You can also come from the back side of your paper too, but I tend to just go on the front. Now you want to move that tool around because you don't want to scorch your white paper, or worse off, you don't want it to catch fire. I've heard that's happened to people before. Okay, so that tool is pretty hot, so I'm going to set it off to the side there. Now, this is shiny, but I'm sure you can't see it, but I just want to make sure that it's all sealed, which it is. It's not sticky anymore. So what happened was that embossing powder and the ink kind of turned shiny, okay? So that's that first step. I'm gonna let that cool off just a little bit. We're gonna go back to the pale papaya, and I need to clean off that stamp because it's got that sticky ink on it, and I'm trying to locate my stamp cleaner. I had two. Now where did they go? Hold on. There they are. Okay, so I got the Stampin' scrub here. So I just got to prep it, and I need to wet it a little bit on the left side. That's got a little raindrop on there. So that means that's the wet side, and then on this right side is the sun, meaning this side is dry. Okay, so I've got that big stamp, and I'm going to clean it off. So I'll just grab that. Okay, so now I'm going to take that same stamp and get, and we're going to stamp this piece here. This is a piece of Petal Pink. And we also need the white and the envelope. So I'm just going to create this nice little background here. You can see it here. So you could do, you could stamp with the pink, or I wanted to just give it a little bit more detail plus to match here. So I'm going with the pale papaya, but Petal Pink onto Petal Pink would certainly look good as well. All right, so let me just ink this up, and I'm just going to stamp just like that there. It's a really, really fun stamp to create with. So now this is not going to cover the whole thing, and you don't want your pattern to be the same way. So you're going to need to stamp this 3 times. So I'm going to put one over there, and now we kind of want to fill in right there. So again, we're just going to ink up our stamp, and then going to just kind of come in here and stamp the edges there, and then let me just go to the other side there, get some leaves there. Okay, so that's kind of filled in really nice. So then the next thing we want to do is we want our paper to go this way. This is the inside panel, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And I forgot to tell you what size this Petal Pink is. It is 2 inches, oh yeah, 2 by 4. I thought I was gonna remember that, but guess I didn't. So now this one here, I really like the centered flower there, the bigger one. So I wanna make sure that's coming onto that white panel. So I'm just gonna stamp that right in the lower right corner there. Since I've got my stamp, we're going to stamp your envelope, and I'm going to stamp right over there. You can also stamp the flap. That's really fun to do too. So to do that, you can just kind of go like this. Just make sure it's going different ways, and then maybe I'll turn it this way. So that's kind of a nice image too. To fill in these white things, or white areas here, you can just close the flap and then just kind of come in along the edges to fill that in. Maybe up there too. So it doesn't look like it was kind of misstamped. So that's a really pretty envelope flap. You can also put designer series paper on that too, but that looks really, really nice. And then there's the front. And we need to stamp our congratulations. That's a really, really tiny stamp. So this is super long. We're going to trim it down, but I don't want to trim it down until I know exactly. There we go. It's really, I think you can kind of see it. It's got a tint of orange in it. That's the pale papaya. Now on the inside, I said on the front, congratulations. On the inside, I said anything is possible. So we're going to stamp that as well. And here we go. And I'm just going to stamp this up here on the left side. So it's kind of offset there. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to die cut that this image out right now. It's cold enough and it won't smudge or anything like that. So I'm going to attempt to use the mini cut and emboss machine. So this sits on my desk. It's so tiny. I have the larger one too, but for the sake of videoing, this little one works best. So I'm going to take plate B, or plate 1, which is for die cutting, and I'm going to take number 2. Then I'm going to take that image here. I'm going to have to move this a little bit. I'm trying to keep it in camera for you too. Now the dies, I need to grab one of those out of the package here. So I keep my dies on magnet sheets, which I purchased from Stampin' Storage. They're super strong and I tend not to lose any of them. Although I have lost one of the Stitch So Sweetly scallop rectangle dies. I've lost it now for 5 months now. So it's somewhere in this room. I'll find it. All right, so now what you want to do, since sometimes your plates are not 100% flat, you can take some washi tape and hopefully I can find the edge. This washi tape I've had probably for, I don't know, 5 years. But it's nice because it'll come off real easy. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up the die here and I'm going to just put a little bit of that washi tape to just keep that die in place. And then we're going to put that number 2. So you've got the plate, the platform, acrylic, plate, cardstock, die, washi tape, and then your acrylic plate. So this one is a little harder to start because it's very lightweight. So I have to just give it a little push and we're gonna just die cut that right through. I find if you hold this die cutting machine, let me show you. It's a new trick of mine. I hold it with my fingers all the way down here, okay, and it stays in place so much easier, okay? So put your fingers over the Stampin' Up! Logo there and use all 4 and then grip the handle with your thumb. You're gonna love it, okay? So I'm gonna have a stamp retreat in June, the 3rd weekend of June, and one of my door prizes is one of these little machines, so I'm super excited about that. I was able to buy it at 50% off on my annual catalog order, so I'm gonna treat somebody to one of those new little machines. It's gonna be super fun. All right, so there we go, okay? Now I want to just tell you that you don't have to do all that heat embossing if you don't want to, but I wanted to just show you how I use clear embossing powder, okay? You could just stamp that normal and call it good. I die cut that pretty good actually. Okay, so now we're just going to assemble this card and we'll call it good. So I need to find my silicone craft sheet here. So I have a piece of Misty Moonlight here, which is an A2 size card for 8.5 by 5.5, pre-scored at 4 1/4. And then I am using the scalloped dies, okay? And this is Daffodil Delight. And what I did was I had 2 strips the same size. I stacked them on each other and I die cut it, so I die cut 2 at a time. Did you guys know you can do that? I've learned a lot of things with my card club because I have to die cut so many pieces every month, and a lot of times I stack my paper so I'm only die cutting half the time. So I'm saving, because everybody gets 2 designs, or I mean 4 designs, and there's always die cutting involved. But I cut 20 kits, so I only have to go through the die cutting machine 10 times when I can stack the cardstock up. So, What I was sorry, I was like totally focusing on this and trying to talk off subject and try to get it all straight. So what I did was I added multi-purpose liquid glue to the back side, and then there's a right and wrong side to this die, and then I added it right here and I lined it up on that stitching edge. So let me do this one more time real slow for you. So add the multi-purpose liquid glue there, just a small line of it. And then bring this back into the picture here. Line it up along that stitching there. That way you know your paper's straight, and just rub this here so it sticks on. I always come to the back side as well. And now what you can do is you can take your paper snips and you're just going to trim these edges right off and try to get them as straight as you can. Okay, so we're just gonna trim all those four. I purposely cut these longer than the designer series paper, just because you never know. If I cut it 5.5 inches, well, this one might be a little bit shorter, so I just wanted it all to line up as best as we can. So I did a pretty good job there. Now, this paper here is directional, so you've got to make sure you have it going the correct way when you layer it onto your card here. So this is going to be adhered straight onto the Misty Moonlight. So let me grab my multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're just going to add it along the edges and a little bit in the middle. And then just center this right on top, edge to edge, and centered across as well. And just hold it in place. And it kind of sets very, very quickly, okay? So there we go, that's that one. Now this next panel here is going to be added on. However, we're going to put Stampin' Dimensionals on the back side of it to give it some dimension. And I'm going to use my dimensionals. I'm down to the edges for today's class. But we always use the edges. Don't throw this out with just the edges left on, because they work perfectly. All right, so we're just going to make sure they're secured onto the cardstock, and we're going to peel off all these backings. And then before I set this onto the card itself, I want to just look at the pattern here just to make sure I like how it's going to look. Even though some of it's going to be covered up, I just want to make sure I have the right pattern where I want it. So I like this side here because it's a little bit more fuller. And then I want to get this centered straight on. Now I'm going to take this one here that we die cut, and this is not going to get popped up because I've already popped up the other one. So I'm just going to add the multi-purpose liquid glue on. I'm going to have these little leaves here going off to the side. And then we'll just press it down a little bit. Now, you could color this in if you wanted to. Just take, you could take a wink of Stella and just add some ink to it and then kind of color it in. Or you can just leave it as is. I'm going to take this strip here and figure out where I want it to go. You can banner cut it if you want. I'm not like one of those, for some reason, I really don't like banner cuts. I just don't know what it is. I just don't like it. So we're just going to snip this right down like that. And then we're going to add this to the front. So now we need to get some dimensionals on here. You can use mini dimensionals or the edges work really nicely too. So I'm just going to add these on. And I know what I just need to do. My laptop just gave me a warning that I don't have the power cord in it. So I'm gonna have to take a break in just a second to kind of plug my AC adapter in. So now I know this is tone on tone. Some people might not like that. If you don't like that, then move it over and put it over here. I kind of like this. So that's how I did the tone on tone there. Now the final step is those genial, I don't know, gems. Did anybody tell me how to say it? I'm sure someone must have. I can go back and look, but they're right here in the package. And I store mine in this clear Stampin' Up cases because that way I know where they are. So they're green, mint macaron, and petal pink. I believe those are the two colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just going to kind of put a few on the card here. So I'm going to take one of the green ones and put it over here on the center of that largest flower here. There's two different sizes in here. And then I'm going to put a pink one over here because I want it, because those are dominant flowers. And then I'm going to put one over here as well. And let me grab another small mint macaron. All right, so that's that. Now we need to add the inside panel. I almost forgot that. Okay, so we'll just add some liquid glue to the back side there. That's plenty. And open this. Oops, yeah. Well, there we go. I thought I had it upside down for a second. Okay, so that's the inside, the outside, and the envelope. All right, so that's card number one, you guys. Is there applause? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. Would you have done something differently? You could have used white here so you didn't have the tone on tone, but let me know what you would have changed on this card. So the next card is the mystery card. So make sure if you're going to be creating your mystery card that you have your supplies with you right now, because I'm just going to clear up my work surface here and bring in the next card. Okay, so I just want to see if there's any comments. Maybe there's not. So this one can be this card can be a little tricky, but we'll kind of figure it out together. So I've got 3 different ink colors: Garden Green, Highland Heather, and Petal Pink. Okay. So then I have the Heart Punch Pack. So the scallop heart and the straight edged, I guess, heart. I don't know what you would call that. And I've got my kit. So this one, let's see. Hopefully I don't screw this one up. All right, so it's one of those easel cards. All right, so I don't know if you can, so when you put it in the envelope, it's flat like this, and then you open it up and you've got a really small area you can write on. If you wanted to put a white panel up here, you could. I thought it looked really nice with the hand-penned designer series paper on the inside. And some people don't like to write a lot, so that heart is perfect. So can you see how this is like an easel card? Okay. All right, so to create the scoring, get your Stampin' trimmer out. I've got to grab mine. I hang mine on the wall there. So see this little notch here? I have one of those hooks on my wall, and I love to have it on my wall because it just keeps it off my desk. All right, so you're going to take the mint macaron card base. This is cut 4 1/4 by 11. We are going to score it at 2 3/4. So the trimmer has the light gray blade and a dark one. So the light gray is scoring, the darker blade is cutting. So we're going to move that cutting blade out of the way. We're going to slide that paper underneath the bar over to 2 3/4 and up and down, and then we're going to score again at 5 1/2. Okay, that's all we need the trimmer for. So we're going to put this back on my wall. Okay, now you're going to need your bone folder. We're going to burnish the score lines. So now typically I would have thought, oh, let's go this way. Well, no, we're not, because we need to go like this, okay? So it's the easel. So you're going to score it or burnish it so it's popping up like this. Now the rest of this is pretty simple. Maybe the stamping's not so simple, but I'm going to show you a little trick that I I marked up a couple of my stamps so it could help me stamp a little bit easier. Let me just turn this over so it's not so crazy. Okay, so we're going to stamp the outline first, and then we're going to use some of the stamps to fill in these flowers. So again, we're going to take that stamp we used before. I've got to clean it real quick. It's got that pale papaya on it. Now, I use garden green for the outline color because that's one of the colors in the Designer Series paper. And again, I'm going to take the garden green ink and we're going to just tap it onto the stamp. And then I'm going to take this panel, which, you know what, this is totally not cut right. Yeah, that is wrong. So hold on just a second because I don't want to screw this up, and I'll be real quick because I've got some cardstock panels already cut. So what did I say to cut this at? 2.5 by 4. I'm gonna double check. I hope that's what I told you guys. Yeah, 2.5 by 4. I must have grabbed the wrong paper when I put this in here. So I know this is 4. Let me just grab this and we're going 2.5. Okay, that didn't take too long, much of a detour. Okay, so I'm gonna ink this back up because I don't trust that it's dry. I'm sure it's dry. Okay, so I those leaves on the bottom because I want that flower going upwards. So I'm just going to stamp this close to the top because I want to leave some area. I'm going to angle it this way though. I want some area on the lower right corner here so I can stamp. Now you could totally leave this just like this, watercolor it in or what have you. This stamp is beautiful. Now we're going to find the Feel Better Friend, which is a really tiny stamp. It's on an A block. And then we're just going to stamp that right down there in the lower right corner. Now, I'm going to stamp these flowers here, all of them actually. To do that, I'm going to take Highland Heather ink. Now, I'm going to use the larger stamp. You don't have to worry about this one because this one's pretty easy to line up. And I just want you to see this stamp here is not as large as the outline. So it's meant to kind of look a little like a watercolor. So I'm going to show you 2 different colors here. So first generation ink, second generation ink. So I'm going with second generation ink because I think this would be just too overpowering. So I'm going to stamp off and then I'm going to line this right up over top. And we've got that second generation Highland Heather ink on that one. So now we're going to do kind of the same thing over here. And now this one's a little bit tricky. Make sure I've got the right one. So what I did, and I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me grab some white. So I marked my stamp at 6 p.m. There's a little mark on my stamp, okay? Because this is a little tricky to line up. So I know that, so when you stamp it with that big flower here, this is the area here that's going to be 6 o'clock. So I'm going to take the Highland Heather ink and let me just show you first, second, and third generation. So on this one, I'm going to be using third generation ink. So 1, 2, and now I'm going to line this up looking at my mark on my stamp. It's 6 o'clock. And there we go. So now you can kind of see I really didn't stamp that very well, so I'm gonna try to move that and try to do this one more time. I'm at an angle here, so when I'm filming it's so much harder. That's okay. You can also take, I don't know if you know this trick or not, you can take a blender pen to push the ink over just a little bit, and it can kind of fill in that gap as well. Okay, so that's the Highland Heather. Now I'm going to take the Petal Pink Ink, and I'm going to find that really small flower, and I did the same thing with this one here. So there's a single flower and then the double one. The doubles are easy to do, but this one is the same thing. I'm going to line it up at 6 p.m. There's a little mark at the bottom of that stamp. And then this one is going to be second generation ink. Okay, so then that was 6 p.m. as well. So we're only stamping one of those. And then the double flower here, there's one that's tiny and there's another one that's larger. So the larger one, you can just kind of figure it out. It's at the top there. So we're going to do this one. We're going to stamp this full strength. So they're brighter than this one here. And the same thing. All right, see that? So now the next thing are the leaves. You could leave the leaves just like that. They look kind of bare if you ask me. So let me just put them side by side so you can kind of see the difference. So here's these all stamped in nice, and then these are not. So I would take the extra time to stamp your leaves. And I'm gonna stamp those in Garden Green. Even though it's outlined in the green, Garden Green, we're going to use Garden Green as well. So there's 2 leaves, okay? There's one, and this one kind of fits, but it's meant to do that. So I'm going to ink full strength in Garden Green, stamp this side, then I'm going to come over here and stamp that one. So it's 2 different shades of green. Okay, we're going to do that up here as well. There's one other little tiny leaf. So I'm going to go full strength. Then I'm going to do second generation. And now I'm going to stamp this one full strength. And then this one down here, second generation. And then this one here is full strength. So now you have all different various shadings of greens, purples, and pinks. So it kind of has some nice little, kind of like looks totally watercolored on my side. All right, so now all we need to do is put this card together. It goes pretty quickly. It's not too difficult. So we've got my silicone craft sheet. You can totally do the easy things first. So here's our card base. We already pre-scored it at 5.5, or 2 3/4 and 5.5. You can take your 2 panels of designer series paper and you can add them. They get added right here on the front side. You can figure out which one you want on the top or bottom. It's the same pattern. Doesn't really kind of matter in my mind. You could go 2 if you wanted to. I don't really like that because I love the flowers in this paper. So we're going to show those off. I'm going to add this right here. Again, this is directional, so I want to make sure it's going the correct way. We don't want our paper upside down. And then this one gets added. So see how simple this card is. Anybody, any stamper, beginner, avid, or you know, all the way up is going to like this card design because it's different. Now let's take this piece of designer series paper. It's just the opposite side, and we're going to put the adhesive on this floral side, and we're just going to show a little bit of difference in the paper so we get to see both sides. This is a great way to use up your paper, you guys. I know this was actually really hard to cut because I really didn't want to cut into it. But if we don't cut into it, well then how are we going to use our paper? And you guys know I love to use paper. All right, so now we've got our mint macaron panel, basic black, so that's really easy. We're just, whoops, put the cover on and can't get that glue out with the cover on. All right, so we'll just add that basic black panel right on the front here. Then our stamped panel, very easy. And this goes right here. I struggled with what color to put as the second layer, but if you look at the paper, the outline has black in it, so that's why I chose the black. Just that little hint of black there. So now the tricky part, that was the trickiest part, you only want to put adhesive on the bottom side, okay? Because if you put it on the top, well then you're not going to have that easel. So be really careful. Kind of estimate where the middle is, and we'll just add some adhesive there. I take about 1/4 of an inch border on the bottom there. And now I'm just going to kind of hold this in place so that glue does absorb into that paper. Make sure it's straight. All right, now we're going to create that heart. Again, I'm using the Heart Punch Pack. And this is a fairly new punch in my craft room. I'm using mint macaron cardstock. And then I'm going to use, I know what, I bet this piece was for, yeah, this piece that I cut earlier was for the heart. Didn't even think about that. So there's the mystery. It's a mystery card with a mystery piece of basic white. Okay, so then this is just going to get adhered here, just like that. So this is our really small message area. Now we'll flip this over, and I'm going to grab some more dimensionals, and we're going to put 3 on the back side of the heart here. So 1, 2, and 3. So the reason you want to do that is because you need to pop this one up so the card actually stands up. Okay, so let's bring that card back in. Decide where you want to put your punched image here and where you want it to stand. So I want to just bring it up a little bit just like that and press it on. Okay, we're not done yet. We got to add the little sparkly gems, and they are right here. So you can use whatever colors you want. There's only 2 here, but they all look real good. This area here kind of really needs something, so I'm going to put a gem there. And then I'm going to take a pink one and put it in the center of the Highland Heather flower just to offset it because it already has green there. So let's give it a different color. And then I'm going to really bling this one out. I'm going to put some pink over here and some pink here. You can really go crazy with these gems. And the smaller ones, actually, I think I'm going to call it good with that. Yeah, that's too much. Maybe I'll just put 2 down here. We'll do something a little different with this one. All right, so that is our mystery card for tonight. See how that works? And it closes, and it will go real nice into your envelope. I did not stamp my envelope, but you can stamp it just the way I stamped it here. And you can stamp it in the pink or the purples. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to actually stamp that just because I want an envelope that's already done. And we are going to stamp it in green. So Garden Green. And we're just going to stamp this right over there. See how pretty that is? Like, that is really pretty, you guys. That's why this stamp set and bundle is selling, because it's beautiful. And also you can do so much with this stamp set, because these are all, you know, they're blank, so you can use your blends, your watercolor pencils, you can use your markers, whatever you want to color these in. Okay, I would not color blends on my envelope because it's going to bleed through all the way, but you can definitely use the watercolor pencils, those in the markers. That would look really nice. All right, so we have a completed envelope and our mystery card. And then the last card we're going to make tonight is this one here. This is going to be one of my card club cards, and it's just really pretty. I used some blends here. Highland Heather. I just working on my blends inventory. So I just purchased a few more, and I got a blends storage box. So that'll be nice. I can put some more blends on my desk here. So I use the double oval punch. I use that really pretty soft succulent ribbon, which is the in color. You guys, every single in color this year, there's not one that I don't like. Like usually there's like only one or two that I might like. Like this year, it's crazy. I love all of them. All right, so this is the double oval punch that I was talking about. And then let's see what else we have. We have another in color called Evening Evergreen. It's a dark kind of foresty green ink. I use that on the sentiment because I wanted a darker green that will pop. Okay, I do that all the time. A lot of times I may not use that same color that is like soft succulent because it might get a little lost. So I like to always use a darker ink color for my sentiment. We're also going to use Memento for our blends. Okay, so what I did, okay, so this, this card as well was, okay, I was a little behind. My team always gets a challenge every Sunday morning, hopefully, but sometimes not until noon. Depends on my day. So this was my weekly challenge for my team. April 25th to May 1st. They had a week to decide what they were going to do. Well, not a week, but that's how long the challenge lasts. I gave them a card sketch here. This one was by Stamp, let's see, Stamp Crazy with Allison. So I used her template. And then I give them kind of an example of what the demonstrator created. So all my team is very new stampers. So they'd like to see, you know, give an example. So sketch an example. And I wasn't able to do the challenge that week because I was getting my card club out the door. So I created this card 2 days ago and I posted it on our Facebook page. And this is what I came up with for this design here. Really, really pretty card. So we're gonna make it together. So here's all my pieces here. Again, this is going to be one of my card club cards. Everything you see here you would get in card club. I would punch these out for you too, but we're going to punch those out together. All right, we're going to work on the blending because that takes a little bit longer. That's the longest part of this process here. So to do that, I've got my piercing mat. I've got some scrap paper to protect that. My stamp is right here. I've got it on a D block. Okay. And here's my Memento because we want Memento ink because we're working with alcohol markers called blends. All right. So I like to take the Memento pad, is smaller, and I like to go like tap it, and I like to kind of like rub it back and forth just like that. And now I'm going to just stamp it right here. Press it all the way around, use your fingers, and then I just peel it off. Now that looks fine. If you want a white flower with no color, but we're going to use some blends. So, my blends of choice are, let's see, we've got light and dark Daffodil Delight, and this is light freesia and dark freesia, so it's a purple. These are new for me. And then I've got the soft succulent light and soft succulent dark. So these two are new for me. So I'm super excited that I'm investing in blends. Now, I like to start dark, and I'm not a, I'm okay coloring, but I kind of just color and kind of just do it. So there's other demonstrators out there that are really, really good at coloring, but I just kind of take it slow. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to go over these. So I like to lay down one layer of the dark, and then I'll come back. So it's got a brush tip and a chisel tip. These are new, so they take a little bit stronger muscles to take the caps off. So if you want more control, like me, then just use the chisel tip. Okay, so I'm just going to color these in, and then let's throw down some ink over here on the edge here to get those petals darker. So I kind of went with dark and light. All right, so that looks pretty good. So now we're going to take the lighter shade of Fresh Freesia, and we're going to add the ink here. And can you see how lighter that is? So that's the light, and this is the darker shade. Kind of gives, when you do this, it kind of gives you like a 3D effect in my mind, I think. Okay, there's a little something over here, so I'm just gonna, and then here's something here. Okay, so those are the lights. What I'm gonna do next, I'm just gonna go quickly to darken up these. So it gives a little bit more dimension. Okay. Now we're going to take the dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going over the areas here where there's some kind of like lines. Then I'm going to take the lighter Daffodil Delight, and we'll just throw down some ink here. I'm going over top of the darker shade as well. I purposely did not shade in that white because I'm not sure what I want to do with that. All right, so now I'm going to take the darker shade of Soft Succulent and just color in the veins there. Then the lighter shade of Soft Succulent. And then the stems here, I kind of just tap. And then we're just getting over here. And then the last one up here. Shout out to Kelly. She's a team member, and her birthday's today. I'm not sure if she's watching me tonight or celebrating. Hopefully she's celebrating her birthday with her family, but if she's on here tonight, happy birthday, Kelly. Okay, so Let me just come down the stem one more time, fill in those little white areas. Okay, so now I'm going to just color in some green in the center there. All right, so next thing we need to do is die cut. Okay, so we're going to grab the mini cut and emboss machine one more time. And then if I turn this over, see, this is why you want scrap paper underneath, and you don't want to color images on your envelopes because it's going to bleed through. Okay, so let's see, my embossing machine. So this is the mini, makes a loud noise. Hopefully that just didn't wake up my husband. And my plates, I have no idea what I did with them, so bear with me. Don't you hate that? Like, I know they're like right in front of me. Where are they? I might have to get my larger machine. One more scan all the way through my desk. Oh, there they are. I knew I'd find them. Okay, so we have plate number 1, and we have number 2 is the acrylic. Then this paper is wide enough, but if you want to cut it down, it's easy to do. I'm just going to trim off a little bit so it fits on those plates evenly, so it's not over the edge. And then let's grab the die that goes with this one. This is the Penned Flowers dies. It's this one right here. And then we're going to, oh no, it's not this one. Hold on. Oh no. Yeah, it is this one. I was like, where did it go? All right, so I'm going to match up these leaves first with my visually with my eyes, and then the stem here. Okay, you can put washi tape on here to hold your die in place, or you can just wing it. Okay, I don't want to wing it, so I want to make sure this is good. Yeah, I'm going to wing it. Let's see if I can get this plate on. I'll be able to tell if I shift it. Okay, good. So now this needs a little push to get it started. There we go. Okay, it looks good. So I'm just gripping with my 4 fingers over the side here. Find the Stampin' Up! Logo where on my fingers. That way it holds in place so much easier. And here we go. So we close this up. Goes off to the side. And then here is our die cut. Oh geez, I didn't die cut that very well. Oh shoot. Oh well. So to fix that, I would totally do this over again, but I don't want to keep you guys. So I'm just going to take my paper snips, oh boy, and just trim that white right away. And only you guys will know that happened. Okay, so I should have used washi tape, but I was in a hurry. But you guys get the idea. How many of you guys are laughing right now? Let me see. Oh boy, can't tell. And I need to get my power cord in. Hold on. My computer's down to like 5%. Hold on. So much technology when you do lives. Okay, now I'm saved. Okay. So now we're going to put this one together, you guys. So I've got my card base of basic white. So it was already scored. I burnished it. Then I've got the hand pen designer series paper. All right, so this is the stripes. And if you notice, the card challenge here with the hydrangea paper is stripes. So I wanted to try to grab some of my designer series paper that has stripes. Normally I cut my stripes horizontally, but I'm going to keep it the way the design said to do it. And then we'll just add some of this glue here. and just goes right down on the front of the card. Then we've got a piece of the soft succulent, which is 3 1/8 by 3 1/8, and we're going to layer it with a piece of the hand pen, which is 3 by 3. So again, I'm maximizing my designer series paper, and I've got a little hint of the soft succulent coming through here. Again, this is directional, so you got to be careful about that. We're going to add 5 dimensionals. So 1 on each corner and 1 in the middle, so the middle doesn't buckle. Make sure they're pressed down real good, and then just peel them off. Now, this is where your silicone craft sheet comes in handy. So I'm just gonna add this to this right now because we need to grab the soft succulent in color ribbon. This is the sheer ribbon. It's just beautiful. So we're gonna add this to the back. Make sure it's straight or flat. It's not twisted. And then I'm going to add this right to the top left corner, about 1/4 inch. Make sure your ribbon's still going like this. And then we're going to create a bow. So let's see if I can make a nice one for you guys tonight. You've been so patient with me, and you've stuck around, which is awesome. Appreciate that so much. All right. And I know Lee's probably watching me, and she's probably saying, Karen, why aren't you using those tweezers? It's because they're on my other desk, and that's too far out of reach. So we're going to try to fix it, and we're going to create a really nice bow, which kind of did. Okay, I'm going to use a glue dot to keep that in place. All right, so we're going to grab some ribbon scissors here. These are from Karen Rowe. She kind of watches me as well. So she sent me these craft scissors like 2 years ago, and they're beautiful. They're so heavy and so nice. Thank her for that. Okay, so that is that for now. So now we've got this embossed paper here, which is basic white. So I cut this. Is that 2 by 4 again? 2 1/4 by 3 3/4, and I pre-embossed it with the ornate floral embossing folder, which carried over, which is great. Oh, I don't want glue. I want glue dimensional. So this one gets popped up too. So we're going to add 5, because when you emboss paper, it does, the fibers do break down, so they're a little bit more, they feel a little bit thinner. So you want to give this piece a lot of support. Okay. And now this one is going to go over here. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, I got to double stack it. You guys are, no, I don't need to double stack it. I need no dimensionals on this side here. So let's take these off, because this is already, that panel's already popped up, and we don't need to pop it up twice, because then you need to add 2 sets of dimensionals on that side. So I'm going to sneak this off real quick, which you can do if you do it really carefully. Okay, so let's explain that again. So this ribbon here has got to stay down. So over here, we want it, the adhesive to be under this piece, no dimensionals, just adhesive. And under here, here, and here is where you want your dimensionals. So bottom, bottom, and upper right. And then this side here gets the multi-purpose liquid glue. All right, so we're going to try this one more time here. There we go. So can you see now that these are all in the same heights? So this one is as high as this by adding the dimensional there. Now this piece here, the die cut, is just going to get, let me see, I did pop this one up as well, just because it's on that embossed paper. So we're just going to give this a little bit of dimension as well. So I'm just adding 3. And then this one's going to get put right on here. It doesn't look too bad now because I didn't die cut that 100% perfect, but it's okay because it's on white and white. So it looks still really nice. I'm going to fix this bow. It's like crazy. If I can't get it, then we'll just make a knot bow. Let's see if I can get it because it's much shorter. Oh gosh. All right, it's going to be a knot bow tonight. Okay. Now we're just going to trim this thing down so it's not so crazy. Okay, we're getting there, you guys. So now I have a strip of Designer Series paper. It's cut 3/4 of an inch by 4 1/4, and I want to dress up the inside of this card here. It's directional, so be careful. And actually it's 4 inches by 3 1/4 inches, so I've got to wait all the way around the edges there. We're going to stamp with Evening Evergreen. This is a darker green, and I'm looking for this Thanks. And I'm not using a piercing mat, but we're going to try to get a good image, which we did. So now this is when these strips come in really handy, because with the double oval punch. So you can slide this all the way in, and you're not wasting paper. Okay, now we're going to slide this scrap of soft circulant in as well, and I've only wasted this little bit of paper, so try to be as thrifty as I can be. We'll add a little bit of glue and match those up. Now this one we're going to do correctly. We're going to add it over here, so adhesive Tombow goes here, 1-dimensional on that side. So I ran out of those dimensionals. I used all the edges up, so I'm going to get a new sheet going. So again, we want a dimensional underneath on the left side. Our glue is going to be here. And then we're going to slide this one over in place. Okay. And then let's add those gems, and then I'm going to add some Wink of Stella at the very end here, just because I think it's going to look really pretty if we do that. So I've added one right to the center of that flower there, and then since there's not any pink really in here, I'm going to use the greenish mint macaron gems, and I'm going to throw one up here. Okay, so now if you want to add the Wink of Stella, it's really easy to do. And I do kind of like brush strokes. You can even do the leaves too, make it look really fancy. My husband's calling our cat. It's like literally dark out, and I don't like it outside this time of night because we have a Fisher cat that lives up back in the woods. I heard it last Sunday, and I don't like it. They're horrible animals. Anyway, thank you for watching me tonight. And here's a nice thank you card. So let's all look at these one more time really quick, so you get one last look at my hand-penned cards. So here's this one with the knot bow, and here's the one with the bow. Okay, so you can kind of see those side by side. And then our mystery card here, Feel Better Friend, easel card, really nice. With a matching envelope, how beautiful is that, with hand-penned petals. Now, don't forget, if you want to be part of my card club, make sure you are on my email list because I'm going to be sending that out really soon this weekend. I'm just going to finish designing 2 more cards and we're going to call it good. So to do that, I will have a link in the description box. And also, if you just go to my website, inspiredbygram.com, so after my grandmother, so inspiredbygram.com, a little pop-up will show up. And if you would like to join, it's $38 a month, and you get a lot of products. And they're all Stampin' Up! Products, and hand penned is going to be my paper of choice for May. So you got a sneak peek at one of the cards that we'll be making. And it's this one right here. Okay, so that's going to be one of the card designs. I do all the die cutting for you, punching, embossing, cutting, everything except for the designer series paper, which you'll do as well. So don't forget about the sign up with Stampin' Up. That's such a great deal. $155 a product for just $99. And then my host code, which is on my website on the right hand side. And it's for some holiday rhinestones. So I hope you guys all have a great weekend. I will be traveling tomorrow, and then I'll be back finishing up card club. So make sure you keep wearing your mask and be well and stay healthy. Take care. Bye-bye. I locked up.